Yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, let me get everything back up there. Peter, you can hear me, right? All right, yeah. Listen, I want to apologize for the technical issues we're having. We usually run our show on radio on Sky 107 and actually use the Sky page, but there's an issue in Morovia that keeps giving us some problems, and so we had to actually disconnect from the Sky 107 setup to actually move in to our own page. It's just because we have somebody who's an admin, there that actually manages the live videos from that end. And so it happened that when we try to log in from here to actually, run the show, it's causing some kind of problems in the interim. So we apologize for that. We're just going to bring on the main unapologetic page. Please share the link and let's get people on. I apologize for that, but these are technical issues and they happen, and so sometimes we don't have control over them. We just have to go with the flow. Again, let me go ahead and bring my team on here for us to discuss and see how best we can get this thing going here. Those are the things that we're trying to fix in Liberia because of the issues there, and hopefully we can get the right person elected to help us to solve some of these problems that would not have connectivity issues when we're trying to link up to radio stations and actually communicate our message to our people there. So back on here again are my two guests, Peter, and I see Alan is actually here as well. His signal is down, but Pete, if you're dead, just go ahead and turn your camera on. Let's get into take of things. And Jonathan Dolakeh is with us today. He's going to be helping the team here for us to see how best we can discuss some of the issues here. I'll go ahead and share the link. Please go ahead and share the link as well. Invite as much people as you can to follow the podcast. We have to take it on our main unapologetic page because of the technical issues we're having. We have lost connectivity with the radio station in Liberia. We've also lost contact with the page there, and so we're going to move forward as it is with the program here today. Emric and the rest of Miata will actually they're actually in different states today, undertaking some projects there, and so they will join us back hopefully on Wednesday or and probably next Saturday as well. Dolakeh, again, welcome to the show. I'm sorry about the issues we've had, but that's technical issue with people in Liberia. Hopefully, we can get to the point now and start talking about issues here. How are you doing today, my brother?
Again, wonderful. I'm doing wonderful and feel quite humbled, being on this platform today to share my thoughts with you, at least for the first time, and hope it will
I
always
know.
be.
I appreciate you. We're very fiery on this platform. We have, a good team, a great team of people. We sit here and discuss the issues. Pete, again, welcome. Again, sorry about technical issue. Let's jump into take of things. So, Pete, there's been a lot of things happening in Liberia, especially during the course of the week and leading up to the course of the week. What we're going to discuss today will be in two segments. The first thing we'll try to cover just the regular item as the format of our show goes, and then the second part will move into that solution piece as well. So to you, Peter, and I want to just go there. One of the things that we hear so frequently about people in Liberia, and I think the last time we are actually on Sky 107, when we heard some people calling, and we felt that there was a need to actually speak about these things because there are people listening, and we have to educate them. So when people say, "Why is Mr. Comics not bringing factory in Liberia?" What runs through your mind, and what response do you have for people like that?
Well, first of all, again, Duke, thanks for having me. Thanks for having us and all the difficulties behind the scenes. And to me, a lot of people, this is very important. People don't know how the food is made, right? They don't know how the pound comes to the table. There's a lot of work that goes on. It just takes them like, oh, they want too sour. They want not sweet enough, right? So I think a lot of people do that. So thanks for all you guys. To Dolakeh, how early you had to wake up, the sacrifices you're making now to be to lend your voice to our people and your expertise and the sacrifices you have made, the money you have turned down. I wanted to make sure I said that. That it's so easy to have no integrity, and that's a major sacrifice to you, your family, your future, everything you ever wanted. So thank you. I wanted to say that. Secondly, to your point, Duke, the reason when people say things like, "Why can Mr. Cummings bring factory?" Oh, you gotta be president before you bring factory. It may gotta be president first. That just it takes me back to the United States of America and why they have this thing called the Electoral College. I spoke on that. I'll probably keep touching on. People in America do not vote for president. Just so you know. They don't. The general population do not vote for the president. A lot of people don't know that, understand that. You vote for electoral college members who then vote for the president. Okay, so let me break that down to what that means, and I'll come back to people who says bring jobs. The United States was founded as a democracy, the first modern democracy since the Romans, right? As an experiment after what we call the Enlightenment. Okay, the United States was formed based on Enlightenment principles. That's why we have separation of church and states. That's why we have separation of power. That's why we have representative government. So, with that being said, this government was an experiment. One of the things they knew that was important was there were 5 pillars that had to be in place to hold up this table for this democracy to be healthy and functioning. Some of the things that had to be in place was you have to have an educated populace. When the United States first started, we didn't have a very informed populace. Okay, because of that, the person who's going to be leading us, how important that person is going to be, they made sure that the ultimate decision makers were people who were informed. They made sure that there was a healthy enough economy so people didn't make desperate decisions to feed themselves, to pay the kids' school fees, and all that stuff. So to put the firewall that the United States put in was the electoral college. That is people who were informed, who are going to make the final decision of who's going to lead the country, knowing how important that role was. When a person says, or people says, "Oh, coming waiting for him to be president before he bring jobs," it just tells me you shouldn't be voting right now. Like, you don't understand how countries work, and too many people like you have been making decisions that have kept us in a pit. Look around. The result of just letting of people who don't know what they're talking about, like Obed and people like that, and the Henry Costas, is what you get. Zinc houses and people, mat houses flooding. I remember sleeping on mats when I was in my bureau. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. There are things that companies look for to come to a country. Mr. Cummings cannot do that without being the president, without being the ultimate decision makers. They look to see how the ease of doing business. That means, who do I have to bribe? If they have to bribe people and there has to be some under the table and people just making up rules, and they're not going to want to do business there. Not only that, these people are into business to make money. They become rich. If they're bringing a factory, that means they're oogly rich. If they're bringing a factory to West Africa or to any sub-Saharan African country, that means they're really smart and they understand imperialism and how to exploit third world countries. Therefore, they're going to need schools because they have to be there for that business to be established. They're going to need schools for their children to go to. They're not going to be away from their family for 2 years. So what school they're going to take kids to? That got nothing to do with Mr. Cummings. They have to make sure that the government, they have some incentive, like, is there steady electricity? Is it cheaper electricity? Do the people in that country have disposable income to buy the products that they are manufacturing? Okay, that means that there has to be a middle class of spenders. We don't have that. We don't have schools. If they bring the factory there, first of all, is it way cheaper? Do you have educated people to a level where they can run their factory efficiently with people without worrying about like third world country problems? Okay, those systems has to be in place. If one of the kids falls sick, is there an emergency right now that can hospital can take the kids to take care of them? Those are things that people are looking for. Okay, shipping. How is it going to get this stuff out to the world? Who's buying the products in that country? Okay, do they have high-speed internet that is on 24/7? People are looking for things that we don't have in place. Are we? How is it law enforcement, law and order? Are the police officers saying, "I mean, you pot bootlegger, give me some money"? Are they fleecing people? Okay. Are they exploiting people who are just trying to drive down the road? Are cars even insured? If they get hit by someone, what are they? What's the repercussions? Are they going to pay for that equipment? We don't have any of the things in place. No job is coming until you get a real president. Stop talking. Understand how the world works. The people now, you just go, bring job. You Mr. Cummings, you go bring job. And we like, what are you talking about? Shut up. Like, go learn how it works, and then we can start talking. Those people don't know what they're talking about. They just don't know what they're talking about. They just run their mouth.
And Pete, that's a great point. And we have to discuss this thing. We have to, Dolakeh, we have to have this kind of conversation, right? Because if we sit there and allow people to run with that narrative and we're not educating or actually informing other people, it tends to spread, right? So, Dolakeh, from your own perspective, this notion of Mr. Cummings, building factories in Liberia, why Mr. Cummings can do that. What do you think about that? And what would be your specific message to people who are pushing that narrative? Dolakeh, you there? Okay. So Dolakeh will get his audio there. But Pete, Alan is here. Alan, how are you?
Okay.
You can hear me, Dolakeh? Yeah, go ahead. Jonathan, you
Yes,
hear
I
me?
didn't get it. Could you reiterate it? Quickly reiterate.
Yes, great. So what I was saying is that you just heard Pete talked about, people and this expectation that Mr. Cummings is supposed to build factories and actually employ people instead of, the presidents and what have you. And I just wanted you to chime in a little bit. What do you make of that particular narrative? And what would be your response to people who think that should be a qualifier before seeking the presidency?
Firstly, I think Pete really, really laid out in a very professional manner. But let me connect it. Say everything is politics is local. So let me get to the local content of it. When you listen to Mr. Cummings, he's very clear, very unambiguous in his statement. When he's referred to as someone who should go to the Senate as a prerequisite, as someone who should bring factory, some intervention in the life of the people. Again, like Pete said, he laid out quite well. But even, against some of what Pete has said,
Yes, we're hearing you, Dolakeh. If you're on the phone, don't play it while we're on because the feed, the noise come back. That's what just your device. Yeah.
no,
Go ahead.
how to interfere.
Yeah, you can go ahead. We
If
can
you
hear
are
you,
there,
Dolakeh. Yeah.
yeah, so I was saying quite clearly that being a president of the nation, I mean, in reference to industrialization, I think it is not the president's primary role. It is the role of the environment that is created, like Pete readily lay out, where the judiciary system can be tested and where the investor does not have to bribe somebody in order to get their way through the rule of law, where they can be a good healthcare system that can adequately and timely meet the needs of people, where there can be electricity, be able to cater to the indoor that should be, created, and it can serve as an incentive from the government part in order to create an ambit for those people in the industry where there can be better education and what have you. On the larger scale, Mr. Cummings, though not his primary responsibility as one who is outing to be a president of the nation, but he's touching life in many of these areas, unknowingly too. If he went to the education, he understands the lacking of education in our system, especially when it comes to the sciences. So he's making contribution to that, and he making intervention here and there. I would not take it from Pete. He lay out in a very unique manner that Liberians have to get away from the thought that when you want to be president, you have to be in refugee camp, you have to be, in low income areas, contributing to the livelihood of the people. Mr. Cummings has done that abundantly since the wartime. He has even done more since 2017 up to current, but it cannot have a greater effect on the life of the people when you have a kleptocratic government that is headed by a footballing president that does not understand innovation and creativity. A government that is bended on corruption, especially so wanton stealing of the people's wealth. A government that does not care for the welfare of people. People are practically stealing a petrol product and creating, economic and security situation for our people, because if we steal petroleum product, if the product owners cannot trust the entity that hosting or that storing their product, and then there's shortage on the market, it reflects to homes that do not have electricity. Though the electricity is not current, is not normal. It reflects on those homes who are paying for daily current rental because the fuel price is going to be high. And as I speak to you, I'm a victim of that currently in Broadview, where there is no electricity because the person who owns the generator can no longer turn the generator on, even though they are hike the price assisted. So it all bows down to having a decent president, a leader who cares for the people, not a leader who is measured by what Industrial will be bringing, but by what condition it will be creating in order for industrial and for the livelihood of the people to go on a normal scale without interference, without any human rights violation or level of bad governance.
And that's a great point, Dolakeh, and thanks for chiming in on that part. Alan, you're finally connected. Thanks for joining us all the way from Rwanda, man. It's been a minute. How's Rwanda holding you?
Right, it's good. No, I'm happy to be with my family. Rwanda is so good. I'm enjoying being out here, and education system is fine with me. Right.
The educational system is fine. You're a young man that was recently in Liberia. You've been there for a while, and unfortunately got this opportunity to go to Rwanda to study. Some of the things that we see in terms of the issues impacting Liberia, one of the most common reference, that people make about Liberia when it comes to comparing other African nations, it has been Rwanda, right? Here we are now talking about people talking about somebody trying to bring factories before it can qualify you for the presidency, and then why you can't run as senator before you contest and stuff. You're there, and Rwanda went through a genocide. Um, I want you to quickly spin this. What is the difference between both sides, Liberia, Rwanda, and when you got there, what was the cultural shock for you? What was it that you saw from the first day that you got into Rwanda up to now that told you that you know what? I am seeing exactly what these people are talking about. We're far behind.
Right. So this is it. First thing I'm going to say is that put country first. This is what the people do out here. Put the country first. And one of the key thing. And then the second is that if people come from a foreign nation into Rwanda, the first thing tell you that genocide we have in this country as something that take a back war. And we want to rebuild our nation and then have peace into our country. We don't talk about genocide. So we all love our president. Reason why? Because he does all the good things for instance of taking off from where we came from to where we are today. The mistake people make with Liberia and Rwanda, Liberia for the Civil War, but you cannot deal well with in the past. That's something people keep forgetting to know. A leader, the only one who can transform the nation, who has a real mindset for the country. Rwanda is a nation where comes from the down. Like that brought for a 14 years civil war. Rwanda does the same. But after war, the president came out by saying, what we need to do is we have to be able to let our back be our back and focus on the future. That's the only thing we need to do to be able to make our nation a great nation. And after war, he unite those people. He united all those people, and then he tell them that there is no Hutus and there is no Tutsi. We all are Rwandans. So when I hear people in Liberia saying that, for instance, this man don't have a stronghold, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have place like I don't know how to call it right in Liberia. My whole like Lofa country is Joseph Braga who, Grand Jida is the other person who that doesn't build a nation. It doesn't build a nation. I'm being real about this. So that's what he said. Nobody have anywhere. Everybody is all Rwandans. That's what he did. And then afterward, people tell us that this is what we need to do. To move forward is to put the country first. And everyone is in this country, they are very peaceful and they love the nation because why? They all are Rwandans. They are not Lufians, they are not Grenjidans, they are not Nimadians, they are not people from home country and stuff like that. So the mindset of people in Liberia, it have to be developed or else Liberia cannot get to where it is today.
Hmm.
In real about it.
And Alan, that's a valid point, and it's interesting that you said that. Dolakeh, long time ago when I went to Ghana, and I remember because Alan says something about Rwanda, this sense of nationalism, patriotism, right, country first, and I've always heard while being in Liberia that Ghanaians were always about their country. You can't beat that. And so I went to go get they were selling the meat or so, and I wanted some. And I
Yeah,
walked there to
right.
go purchase. And I'm
Awesome.
talking and I misspoke and I said dollars, right? And you can see the guy, he took offense to it, right? The fact that I said dollar and it was all about their money and stuff. So I said, oh, wow. But everywhere you went, and at the stadium area, the shopping areas, even the market area, you could see the sense of nationalism, right? Wherein they were really, excited about the country. There was always about, Ghana. it was always about us, our people working together to build our country, right? And those are some of the things that Alan brought about that, that just kind of brought a quick, refresher to my mind here. So great point there, Alan. And let's tackle this next issue because we got a second part here that it's going to get pretty interesting. So the final part about our first section here has to do with this thing about this requirement of running to be a senator or representative, as some qualifier for the people who don't have any other argument when it comes to Mr. Cummings. And so I will throw this here quickly to you, Pete. I can tell you off the back, I know how to respond to things like that, but I like to give other people the chance as well. But the first thing I would say, you want this man to, according to your own requirement, Mr. Cummings should run for senator, of and go that he need to be senator first. It's intriguing to me because when we start quantifying things, when we start going to the numbers, and when I said numbers, I'm not talking about the Lofa counted numbers we will come to. I'm talking about, I'm talking about productivity. How many of your senators, of the people that you've encouraged to run for the House of Representatives or as senators, that went into that particular body and actually left with some
Brief.
kind of progress or made some kind of change? Let's use the current president as, as an example. When you made George Weah senator, that was one of your criteria, right? When you made George Weah senator, what did George Weah do in Monserrado County that created change, right? Matter of fact, we told you, based upon what we're seeing from the performance of George Weah as senator of Monserrado County, we immediately told you that this man was not somebody that should have even been elected as president of the Republic of Liberia. So when it comes to Mr. Cummings, when you hear people saying something like that, Pete, before I come to you, Dolakeh, when people start throwing this senatorial stuff, what do you make of it? And just speaking to our common people on the ground, and why is it not a measure that should be used or a requirement for the presidency of Liberia?
Yeah, yeah. Did you need me to go? You want Dolakeh to go first?
Dolakeh can go first, and you can compete.
Thank you so very kindly. And it hit me right on the spot because when President Weah was serving as a senator of Monserrado County, but then I was legislative research at the Liberian Senate.
Are you looking
I
like
had
that?
the opportunity to sit in chamber. I had the opportunity to sit in chamber and follow plenary session. So when we came to the 2017 runoff, I was very clear that an individual who cannot leverage his quote unquote big opposition nomenclature in the legislature does not worth me supporting him to become president. So I was clear. But very importantly, when people say why Mr. Cummings is not going to the Senate, the prerequisite, one has to understand after 100 plus years as to what the Senate or the legislature has set in motion as a standard for which people should use it as a prerequisite. As we speak right now, I'm not saying tomorrow, right now, as we speak, the Senate and the legislature is controlled by the Coalition for Democratic Change, headed by the Speaker Buffer Chambers, the Senate headed by the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, the President Pro Tem, Joe Howard Taylor, the President of the Senate, the President Pro Tem Abochir, the Chair on the Executive Senate, what's his name from Monserrado County, Sir Joseph, Carlos Gray, Chair on the Executive House of Representatives, or Deputy Speaker Fanadi Kofa. But guess what? All the guys who are heading the Senate and the House of Legislature in general are unable to procure just a generator in the interim that when LEC goes off so that they continue the business of the Liberian people. So what is it? Joe Hawatera has a personal generator when LEC goes off. The Pro Tem has his personal generator. The Speaker has his. The Deputy Speaker has his. and lawmakers who can afford will have theirs. So immediately current is off, the whole building is shut down. I mean, in our common parlance, we say no good job. And everybody got a vendor around the building. So in a system like that, the bathroom is messed up. I'm being very practical. I just left from there. I'm very practical. The bathroom is messed up. I mean, international people have come there and they could not access the bathroom because of its massiveness. Staffers who cannot afford, cannot have buses. There's no regular buses running. I mean, you cannot take an Ellis Cummings from a corporate America to get into that place. My brother, I just came from the Liberian Senate. I took 3 weeks after paying $10 to get an ID card, electronic ID card, computer ID card. If I add the third week, I have to go there and make plow with them and make fuss with them that you have to borrow the Alternative National Congress ID card machine, which is of the same price, but it's readily available right on time. They can give you it. For a whole institution to take 3 weeks to present me a computerized ID card, that you cannot have an Ellis Cummings going in such terrain from a corporate America that believe in timeliness, that believe in efficiency, that believe in the productivity. I mean, time measured by the result of the work. You cannot have such an individual going through the Liberian Senate. What it says to me when you suggest such a prerequisite, it tells you where we are after 100+ years, with the traditional, thought versus the contemporary thought that we have now from the ANC that want to transition our country into a different narrative. That's what I can say for it.
That's a brilliant point. That's a salient point. And Peter, go ahead and close on that point, so we can get into the real heated part.
Yeah. So this it's not even heated yet. So a couple of things, right? Sierra says Joe Boycott has never won an election. You know who else has never won an election, which is true. He's never held like the office. People pick him because he can manipulate his people to get in votes. But I think the votes now have slow leak, so the votes he had escaped without them seeing it. Okay.
You got to whiff the part two, man.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. UP vote has slow leak. Anyway,
listen. You got to whiff for part two.
I know. I just couldn't help it. You know who else has never won? You want to know how you're gonna lose the election? Just pick Henry Costa to head anything. But anyway, so we're speaking to the Senate, right? We're speaking to the Liberian Senate. You have a country with separation of powers, with 3 branches of government. Again, who's your civic teacher? Go find that man. Take the Kinju out his hand and slap him. If you think someone needs to go to the Senate to graduate to the presidency, those are 2 totally different functioning branches of government. In the Senate, you're supposed to be there. Duke, please forgive me. I have to go there.
I know you would go there, Pete. I don't want to interrupt you, but after Pete gets done, before we go into the second set, I got a breaking news for you. Something very important. Go ahead, Pete.
Okay. All right. So in the Senate, the job of the legislative branch people is to make laws that will help the lives of the people. That's it. And they're supposed to they have oversight authority of some executive appointee positions. Okay, so they're supposed to serve overseers, and not even necessarily like they don't get to tell the executive what to do, but they can ask questions to people that were appointed by the executive, and they get to approve those positions. Okay, and make laws and make policies to help the Liberian people. That's their primary job. They ain't supposed to be there making laws and say who can run for senator, like Darius Dillon spent all his time doing, right? Who can we prevent from being president? Who can we prevent from giving me competition? Right? That's what Darius Dillon does, right? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go there. So I have the screenshot. So Darius Dillon cannot say I lie on him. Darius Dillon blocked me. Why did Darius Dillon block me? Well, A, he put a bunch of dumb parables that don't make any sense when you apply logic to them. And I always ask him, how does this part of your parable make sense? He doesn't like that too much. Darius Dillon don't like people who have more intelligence than him, which is like 90% of Liberian people. But so Darius Dillon blocked me. He finally got sick of me when he posted someone died, and Darius Dillon posted too many things going on. Like, bro, we need to go back to chambers. I'm gonna ask that. I'm gonna request that the Senate pro tem get us back to chambers. So I simply and politely went under the post and said to him, "You're gonna go back to chambers to solve problems. Can you tell me one problem you have solved when you were in chambers before we let you hurry back so you can solve this other problem?" The man blocked me. Oh, the man blocked me. I don't think it was Paul that blocked me. I think it was Saul that blocked me. Okay, that's all I have. I have a screenshot to prove that. Right? You've never solved no problem. You're fake. Stop talking. Go back to chambers so you can do what? So you can pretend and go and go play your opposition role to George Weah. Now all you care about is elections. George Weah is all you care about. You don't know how to make laws. Anyway, three different part of governments. Two, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislative play different roles. In the legislative, it's all about negotiations, right? It's all about working with colleagues to make things happen, right?
Yep.
That has nothing to do with the executive. The executive role is totally different. They're the law enforcers. Okay, so when you say someone should go to the Senate before going to the executive, they don't serve any. There is no correlation. They have two totally different purposes, and it's designed that way. Again, when people are speaking, saying go to the Senate first, it tells me A, they're looking for excuses, that to put the most qualified person forward, and B, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop trying to tell us what to do in our country. You have no idea what you're talking about. Those two positions, those two branches of government have no correlation. None. You don't graduate from the Senate or the legislative and go to executive. It doesn't lend you anything at all. It doesn't lend you any experience. Just like you said, Joe Boycott have experience. Experience for what? He's never won an election. Experience for what? He never ran it. He's never ran anything that he won. So again, when you look closely at what these people are saying, it just tells you we need something like the Electoral College. Like you people making decisions for us is the reason why we've remained poor. Stop it. You're not making sense.
And you know, Pete, that's a great point. But
Yeah,
fellows, go ahead, Alan. Go ahead. Yeah.
There's one other time P I on the phone, I still P. Now you see Liberia, what we need is education. When the young people in Liberia is educated, they will know exactly what to do for themselves and for the nation. Being senator, representative is not a prerequisite of being a president. Read a constitution. This education people need. I always told people this thing. If we have education, oh man, we're gonna put country first. We're not gonna be buying behind the politicians and the guys who take money and build homes and stuff, buy homes in different countries for girlfriends. And they disregard the people in the slum community. We just need education because I still see the same people in the slum community. Heal these people.
So Alan, P mentions Dillon's name, and you put in the requirement for education. I'm thinking you ready for it too. Just let us know. But guys, let me show this. So we have a breaking news, and I want to drop it here. I have in my possession information here stating that the Unity Party's new headquarters is behind about 2 months in rent, to the point wherein the owner of that building have actually reached out to those in leadership requesting that they make some sort of payments there. There's been conversations on the back end. The second news that I have to bring forth here for people to understand. Yesterday, the past 2 days, there's been meetings between some members of the Unity Party and the Joseph Boycott camp. I can say this today. There is a meeting by a group within the Unity Party who have not come to the realization that there are a lot of things that's been going on in the Unity Party. That group says that because of everything that's transpired, and as of recent, the Lofa election, it believes that there needs to be some kind of shift of the Unity Party, and they were pushing for change at the top. Now, they've engaged people from the boycott camp. They've actually engaged the former VP about it. I hear there's still people, a few people still loyal to the VP that's putting up resistance. But I can say this with all the evidence in my possession that if something's not done, you will see in the matter of a couple of weeks there will be a resistance from the Unity Party that will take to the streets, that will come to the airways and demand the resignation of the former VP. Now, with those two breaking news actually out there, it leads us to the next portion of our conversation today. And I believe this one is going to get interesting. So hopefully for the next 45 minutes or so, we'll cover that. The last few days, we've had this, this kind of, thing that happened in Liberia with the Lofa election. Now, let me just draw some level of context here a little bit to be able to, talk to our people here. When all of the rigmaroles were going on in the CPP, Dolakeh, one of the arguments from people who were part of the boycott camp happened to be that they had the numbers. Remember, the collaborating political party that is still in existence due to Mr. Cummings' leadership and the Liberty Party, of course. Those two parties, the All Liberian Party, who cannot even win more than 15 votes in the general presidential election, and then the Joseph Boycott camp of the Unity Party. They went and brought this bogus case against Mr. Cummings, right? And all of the things. But one of the arguments, one of the key reasons, one of the reasons why those individuals from the Unity Party have continued to push this message of boycott is because they believe that Joseph Boycott owns the base. The base argument has been the taboo, it's been the conversation, it's been the defense, it's been the only thing. They have not told the Liberian people what they intend to do in terms of leadership in that country. The only argument we've heard consistently from the Unity Party has been about the base. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Lofa County was a defining moment. And I think we said it that since we're going to be relay on SKY107.1 FM, our partners. Let me say this: we told you that if you took away this bogus base argument from the Unity Party, it becomes an absolutely dead party, because the Unity Party, post Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, became a complete liability, and the CPP gave some kind of life to the Unity Party. For all of you who believe in religion and whatever the faith you believe in, God doesn't sleep. Lofa County was a defining moment for the political career of Joseph Boycott and the Unity Party. They had to win. And not just only win, they had to win by a massive number to rally the base, to make people to think perhaps this man, as we said, we agree. And had they done that, there would have been additional pressure. I don't need to tell you what you have observed over the past couple of days. But they went into Lofa County and they fell flat on their faces. Beaten, broken. But here's the interesting part about it that we're going to fire shots on and educate our people. What happened? In the 2017 election, Joseph Boycott won about pretty close to almost 90% of the vote in Lofa County. And throw away all the arguments you have and everything you want to say. You do not leave from 90% dominance in a county to being beaten by the political institution that can even run on its own name and have to go behind an independent candidate. The results in Lofa County ended the political aspirations of Joseph Boycott and the Unity Party for 2023. And if you can pay attention to the energy, you can see now that Unity Party folks are completely out of the conversation. So, Going to my boy Dolakeh as we fire some shots here today. And guys, please do not hold back because we got to educate our people. Dolakeh, you are a political analyst. You've been the brain of the ANC, and I know what you can do in terms of the politics, the nuance, all of the things that you've actually brought to the table to educate our people. Politically speaking, you've got to admit it was political suicide for the former vice president not only to quit the CPP, but to run into Lofa County. I want you to tell us, do you think that that Lofa County result now puts the nail in the coffin of the Unity Party and any hope of Joseph Boyka doing anything in the 2023 presidential election?
Thank you, Duke. Thank you for the opportunity given me. I think the Lofa issue practically displayed, how the Unity Party has dwindled over the period of time. And those who are politically inclined, like Pete and other people, can better throw their weight on it. From the neighborhood of 90%, down to struggling against an independent candidate. I mean, without a full backing of political party, because the political party does not have a good reputation, struggling with that political party tells you clearly that there is something called changing time in politics. When time
Educate us.
changes, the political dynamics change automatically. So if you listen carefully and you read the analysis of the former Unity Party chairwoman P, you will understand clearly that Unity Party is primarily, and when I speak Unity Party, I'm speaking of the architecture. The ethos of the Unity Party, as it is just about sitting on the table, having the power of the cake, remaining there for negotiation for 2023. It cannot be a political party that has vision, that is aggressive. And they say your dream should scare you, that is ready to change the narrative. Had it been so, and looking at Lofa County, looking at Joseph Juma Bwaka, who is an heir of Lofa County, and understanding what heirship means, and having the understanding of the dialectics of Liberian politics, you would not be putting Galama Kotiman or Loma May into a race that a Kisi May Samukai had just contested, knowing that the incumbent who is currently in that seat is already a Loma May Zago. Now, so I'm not really disappointed. I'm not disappointed because the old man has said to us that he could not read the WhatsApp message that Mr. Cummings in the chat room about the framework document, gave him more dignity. Just as an excuse to making sure that he's part of the shenanigans, the undercutting, the maneuvering, to making sure that Mr. Cummings' reputation is dented, that he would not have good reputation, and that he will be labeled as a criminal, as UA has handed him to the government of Liberia, backed by Joseph Nyimambwaka. That was the break of my entire trust for Nyimambwaka. So I was not surprised for them to go through an election, bring up another Loma May, though there's a Loma May already in the Senate, not striking a tribal balance as a means of thinking out widely. Even though the nomenclature given to the team given to the campaign, vote double the vote you gave to Samoka, to Galama Katman, they were not thinking. And I don't think they have been thinking. I think what United Party have been struggling with since 2018, they have been struggling with a comeback. And they're getting it all together. You introduced Joseph Francis, a lady that could not win district number 1 Mesurado County. You introduced her against Joseph. who was known by many locals to be the Ebola fighter, immediately lost election. You came back, you introduced Cornelia Cram, my own dear sister from New Jersey, who had not made any political mark yet. You left from there, you went to Lofa, Great Cape County, you introduced Daba Vapla against the tradition of an entrenched Muslim background in Great Cape County, and put a woman who had left and want to marry her home county against your whip over there again. So it's just about fighting to make a face. We have to stand behind Professor Dolakeh.
But Dolakeh, you stress a great point. Before we leave from here, I want you. You said something that I cannot allow this to slip. You made a valid point. Is it safe to say that the current vice president, the former vice president, who is the current head of the Unity Party, with all the moves that he has made that you just stated here, from Monserrato against Joseph, and then what you just mentioned in the district with the young lady who the believes a rising star, according to them, I don't know what the definition is, and then in Grand Cape County. Do you think that the vice president is not in any kind of contact with those two veterans of the Unity Party? Or is it that those core people who were really driving the narrative in the Unity Party are just completely decided to remove themselves from the vice president, and he's just hanging on thin air? Is it fair enough to say that?
Look, it is completed. It is completed thinkable. It does not say, it does not give any reason why Ambassador Bouakai should be elected. Absolutely, I'm very clear about that. So no reason, nothing, zero reason why he should be elected as president of the Republic of Liberia. What he would take and miss the classic educated people in the Unity Party. You would take 100%. I'm coming, Duke. When you take such an individual to draft your messaging, overlooking the sophistication in your own backyard, what it tells me is that you're lacking something fundamental. And I can point to a fact concerning that. When the case was going on with Mr. Cummins, there was this time that we came from the National Elections Commission, and I had to reach at the Unity Party headquarters. And that was an espionage, by the way. I went to the headquarters with nose mask, with shades, dark shades, and I had a cap on, and I entered the headquarters. And I was sitting in the headquarters.
The new headquarters now that they're behind in a rent, or the old one?
The current
one, okay.
Look, there was this meeting that Unity Party have had, and they needed Bouakai to make a statement to say that we don't trust the National Elections Commission, no Unity Party on the ticket, no election. And probably Ambassador Bouakai seemed to resist it, given what I've observed the body language. But then I saw my friend Mo Ali coming downstairs, and then he had just opened the conference door. If the Papa don't agree to the thing, then just made a statement. Then just made a ballistic statement that, look, no election.
They don't have respect for him. They're done.
No Unity Party, no election. Coming down the steps. And then I went to him and said, Mo, what's up? But he didn't make me up because I still had a nose mark. He said, yeah, boss, how you doing? Then I took out the nose mark because I want to be deliberate now. And I shook his hand. You was shocked in the party headquarters. So what I'm saying, and before I could reach Kevin Street, the announcement had already been up. Ambassador Bouakai had already spoken. So then that he's control.
He's not.
He does not have his own word. He does not have his own analysis. They will come and tell him, say, Bouakai, Papa, just tell the boy, say, you didn't read that in the chat room. And you didn't read long story in chat room. It makes sense. Even if it doesn't, just to say something to save the face. And those young guys are doing those things because you have to understand the background. Thank God we understand show to the government to understand that those young guys are doing this thing because they are trying to up their bait. They are not sincere about Unity Party. They're going to trade
Absolutely.
off tomorrow with CDC. So they want to
Yes.
sit in a very important role that will give them the wit that when they are ready to trade, indeed the CDC will see a significant group of people that we can trade with. It does not make sense that I left for the Unity Party in 2012. I presided over the resignation of Henry Pedro Costa and spoke on his behalf. I am a full member of the Alternative National Congress, still remain an executive of that party. I have never been in the pockets of the Unity Party during the last 20. But I still supported them above George Weah because I knew that there was some capacity gap with George Weah.
Absolutely.
Today, language in the pockets of party change officials. But when you see the more Ali and the guys languaging in the pockets of this individual, it is a clear, well-defined indicator that indeed the guys stand for action. And it's unfortunate that Omen Bwaka keep watering down that step, keep putting himself further into, even if he cannot become president, at least he must remain as a statesman with respect and integrity. But it's unfortunate what happened. Look, had the Mr. Kame has said that he does not deserve. What he wants at this point is rallying Liberians across the table who can come to see the change that Liberia deserves. So whether you get here, Yana, you have to put it together because at the day they pay to be a travel to come from a particular tribe. I did not know how I came a man and Nima Kante man, neither the pit or you do. We did not pay any price to be into any religious institution. Probably was inherited because of our parental rule. So we cannot judge people on these lands and try to, build up ourselves on this land. So what happened, Lofa tells you that we from the ANC, we have to do more work. I mean, people are, the Lofians are open to every group of political actors, and we have to infiltrate in every nooks and corner in order to make the name Alex Cummings and the CPP as a brand in this coming election.
That's a great point, Dolakeh. And you know what? Listening, we'll be back on this topic again Wednesday. Listening, Wednesday we're gonna be live again. We're gonna be on SKY107.1. We'll get your calls in from Monrovia, please. And I think when I talk to Pete, we'll probably try to do 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the diaspora, and then probably 8 there. So we'll discuss that. But let me go back to Pete here, and then to Ali, and then we'll move into that solution piece, that the final point there. Pete, you heard Dolakeh. There was a lot of things here that he unpacked, right? And we know that. But I want to take a spin to you now. The pot is broke. You know the pot is broke. Financially, they're done, right? In addition, the Lofa County election, regardless of what propaganda spin they want to put on it, that was a defining moment. We saw that with Joe Biden in South Carolina, right? Joe Biden had to win South Carolina to become the face of the Democratic Party. He lost that. It's a done deal. Bernie Sanders is the leading candidate going against Donald Trump. But you saw the change of things, right? When Biden won in South Carolina, everything endorsed that. I believe the same thing, and I know you and I know it's the same thing with the Unity Party. You lose an election in Lofa County after making all of the noise and the trouble in the CPP, going to the court and even working with the government of Liberia, your partners, and then you fumble. My question to you now, Pete, on this topic here, let's look at the trajectory of voters now. What do you think is the message for voters, number one? And just from from your perspective, I want you to tell us, is it safe to say that that party is done? From a moral standpoint, from a substance standpoint, how does an election like that completely shuts down the entire operation of an institution, judging from everything we've seen thus far from there?
So again, Duke, so a few things I want to touch before
Yes.
I go into what I'm going to say. And I really don't care about UP. I don't. I care about my family. I care about the people back home who are struggling. I care about a young person like Alan, who's brilliant young man who should be a doctor right now. If he was in the United States, he'd be completing his residency. I care about that. I care about the potential of our people. I have empathy and I have pride in being a Liberian. Great pride in being a Liberian. And that pride is infusing me after living in other people's country for as long as I have, and knowing what it means to be a Liberian, how the world sees you. And I know the talent we have. I know where I come from. And I will never forget that. Not only am I not going to forget that, I take pride in that. I wear that on my chest. I take pride in that. I don't care about UP. I don't care about political parties. I care about ideas and ideologies. I care about logic. You win elections in two ways. You infuse your base with energy. You energize your base, and you bring in new voters. That's how you win an election. That's why the election in any country, especially the United States, the swing vote is very important. Your base is going to be your base. You energize your base, you bring in new people. Look at UP. I'm just talking logic now. People like to think that, Liberian politics is no different than American politics in the 1920s, 30s. No different. Or the political, any kind of emerging democracy. In the Philippines, any place that having an emerging democracy, the process always works the same. A lot of people who say Liberian politics are people who don't and haven't understood politics in any other place. You just haven't studied emerging democracies, but there's a same pattern. If you look at what's going on, some Dolakeh touched on before I get to UP. If you look at a guy like Boyka Jalaba, right? He's the type of a person that I thought that we were going to be having to argue against. And then you have a person like Joseph Boyka picking Mo Ali, Henry Costa to lead, to be the face of UP. Remember now that the educated, sophisticated people, those are the faces of our country. A person who cannot make a cross-country or nationality analysis of countries because he hasn't studied it. A person who will block you, who cannot debate, participate in a debate, but only monologues. That's the person who you picked over Boyka Jalaba. Boyka Jalaba, I don't know you personally. I know that I've heard you talk, and we were preparing for the people like yourself. Please come over to where the smart people are that will respect and actually value your knowledge and get away from that sinking ship. Henry Costa, it tells you the leadership ability of that man, the leadership ability of Joseph Boyka. How do you know the base is not energized? You have no money. People just don't throw the money away. When they're energized, they will give you their money.
Absolutely.
That's how politics works. You know why you don't have no money? Nobody is energized. They hope you win. They're not putting their no money behind it. That's why you can't pay your rent. You're bringing no new members. You know how we know that? Because your current members are leaving. Stop lying to yourself. You guys sound like crackheads. You sound like a drug addict. You have a problem. Someone needs to tell these people to have a problem. You lost. Let it go. Nobody wants you. Let it go. The signs are on the wall. I don't even want to talk personal about UP, but they are delusional. All the indicators tells us that you lost. You pick Henry Costa because he's on the radio, he had a big mouth. Listen, that's not how you win elections. It's not. He's not going to bring no new people. And the points that he's making, all the yelling and he being a monologue, that's all he can do. Let's sit there. Let's talk about how countries are built. Let's debate it. Let's go nation to nation. Let's talk about your analytical ability. Let's talk about your intellectual ability to
to sit there and synthesize the information that we are looking at in other countries. You can't do it. You've never done it. You want to argue. You. That's why you and what's his name, Darius Dillon are friends. Okay, imagine if Joseph Boycott wins. Henry Costa being on his chest is because of me. It's because of me. It was you're a dead man. Imagine that. Listen to how flippant Mo Ali with chicken poo poo hair sounds when he's talking to people. Listen to how he talks to our people. How rude he is. How dismissive he is to reporters. Those are the people that you want to lead. Lead who? Listen, UP. This house, we all own this house called Liberia. You're not, we grown up now. Your cousins have grown up. You don't get to say how we're going to run the house, how we're going to clean it, or if we're going to sell the house. You don't get to do that. We're here. You don't have no more ownership of this house than we do. You have us to contend with. You're broke. You haven't studied anything. You want to lead for what? Because you ran in front of the line? Because you were the first one to pay attention to politics? You better move from here, man. We're here now. What's wrong with you?
But look,
you think you're going to keep our cousins poor? Like, what's wrong with you? We're paying attention now. Go sit your butt down. You bleach. Henry Costa, you bleach your skin. That disqualify you. You're a man. You have like thin skin. Marley, you put Esker in your hair. You put Esker in your hair. You're not a man. Men don't do that. Like, yo, you don't get to lead our country. You got us to contend.
Listen to me.
What UP is doing. I'm sorry.
Listening. This is why we call this show Unapologetic, because we want people to be free in expression, be expressive as they can be. Liberian politics is not a joking matter for us. We've got to talk just how we feel, right? And this is what sets us apart, because we want to be unapologetic when it comes to issues impacting Liberia. Let me say this, my people. I want to send a special shout out to Bucky Rod. I know he just checked the feed here. Buck, thanks for following us. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for all that you do for Liberia, inspiring young people as well. I just want to send a special shout out to Bucky Rod for following our podcast live today.
Can I say something real quick to that?
Go ahead real quick.
It's
Go ahead real
10
quick.
seconds. And it has to be it's Bucky Rod. I'm glad you mentioned him, right? Bucky Rod lives in this country, a talented young man, right? He's not just a talented rapper in Liberia or hip-hop artist. He could be an international artist. That's the type of person that if we had a real government, people who understood what they were doing, like we're going to have in 2023, you support that man, because just the taxes alone from a Bucky Raw and the things he can do because of his talent, and there's a bunch of kids like that, could pay for a whack fee by himself. Just the taxes we're going to put on him because he can be a multi-millionaire. Not because anyone did him any favors, because we set the system in place. So I wanted to say that.
And you know what, though? Right. Just a shout out to him. You know what he does? Before I come to you there, Alan, quickly there. Bucky goes to the prison. He takes his own money and he gives stuff to prisoners. He helps young people as well. So just not only sitting in Liberia, he's a humanitarian. He's actually used the gifts that God's blessed him with to be able to change lives with us. So on a moment, let's just pay homage to the legend, man. You know, Bucky. All right, Buck, we just want to send you a special shout out. So, Alan, go ahead and take this point for us, 5 minutes, and then let's go ahead to our ending point.
Right. So this is what I want to say, right? You see, the difference between those people in Dallas, this comes in the form. I listen to Peter, I listen to Sion brother, I listen to you do. You know, when you are speak about nationalism, talk about what can you do for the nations. Those people don't care about what they can do for the nation. Henry Costa or Mo Ali, these people are people who want a selfish end. They just want Joseph Boaga becomes president so they can be like Jefferson Koji, Alan Weiss, and the rest of the other people who are investing in the nation funds. And it doesn't work like that. These people are not patriotic. I want Liberians to understand that if you want a good nation, you should see leaders who got the mindset of development, who tells about empowerment, infrastructure. This did not happen with these people. They don't talk about it. We all should understand that those men don't mean better for us. People come talk about party line. They don't even have money to run election right now. They don't have money. The other need, as I speak to you, brother, is for them to be able to get into offices and to be able to take the nation resources that the less fortunate needs. You know, so that's why I want to talk about. Well, I
Yeah,
hear Peter talking about.
and you're great. I see Peter with the little man over there. I got Omari here. Omari, come on there as well. So, gentlemen, we've been on Dolakeh. I would like for us to continue the conversation on Wednesday on Sky 107. Let's go to an important part here, and then we can actually wrap up the show for today. Again, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties we had earlier. We usually stream on the Sky FM page. Usually, we have our controls team that take control and actually broadcast live on radio. But it's raining in Monrovia, and the network is really bad, and it was causing a lot of issues, knocking us off the airways and knocking us off online. And so we had to go and do our show on our Unapologetic page today. Notwithstanding that thing, we've been able to just steer the ship a little bit here and move. So, guys, let's say that we've had this thing about the unity party. I'd like for us to just quickly just back to Dolakeh. Dolakeh, one of the things that Mr. Cummings said that's been impressive, and by the way, it's not just the first time I've heard him say that in 2022. This has been the beginning, but Mr. Cummings been very, 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 straightforward, right? And by that, he said that, look, I don't need a salary. I'm not going to take a salary as president of the Republic of Liberia. What I want our people to do, instead of paying me for doing the people's job, because I'm blessed and I'm thankful that God's given me the opportunity to be able to take care of my own life, my family, and so I don't need to get paid. That money that's allocated for the presidency, I want it reinvested into our accountability sector, because I want us to wage war on corruption from day one. So he wants to pour money into GAG, into General Auditing Commission. He wants to put it into other accountability sectors. The salary that you're paying, he wants to put it back into those institutions to strengthen them and make sure we have some level of accountability. Mr. Deputy SG, you've been a really critical piece to the operation of the ANC in Liberia. And one of the decision makers, in addition to being a decision maker, you have actually embodied the true spirit of being an ANC and a patriotic Liberian as well. When you hear Mr. Cummings saying that as president, he doesn't want to get paid, he wants that money redirected into our government accountability sector. What do you make of that, and how is this critical? And what message should it send to voters in terms of decision making come 2023? Yes, Dolakeh, you there? All right. So
Yes,
what
I'm here.
Dolakeh is
I'm
trying
here.
to
I'm
get,
here. You got me?
go ahead, my brother. Yes, I hear you
I'm
there. Go
here.
ahead.
Thank you. What I make of the salary component when Mr. Cummings speak of it is that, and by the way, he has said it all since. It is not just 2022. He said it 2017 for the history sake. He said he does not deserve a salary. He would rather prefer it redirected to a more anti-graft institution like the LACC, Labor Anti-Corruption Commission, like the GSC, like the Internal Audit Agency. I mean, that's anti-graft institution to be able to fight the corruption. But what is important to me about that statement is just as similar as Mr. Cummings would say to Liberians that if you are coming to the institution or to support me because you are come to sit on the table to collect your own and play a big shot and corrupt the system, I'm not your guy, please. I mean, those are statements that speak to the core issues that are affecting our nation. Now, when you hear your leaders speak in that manner, because normally when someone say like Liberian politics, like the Peter try to delineate or try to say that politics is just one people trying to attach some nomenclature into it because of the bad tendency of it. When you hear people say Liberian politics, it means no matter my character, just accommodate me because you won't win. Not just character, even if I would display flagrant disrespect for the rule of law and ready to demonstrate your government, just accommodate me. So when you now hear your leader say, If you are coming here because you want XYZ done, then I'm not your guy. I need to be a president, not just for the salary component, because I mean, pray tell God, thank you. I'm well off. So I prefer taking this money to go into anti-graft era. So you now understand that there's a passion to tightening anti-graft. There's a passion because you have LACC. You listen to the recording of the journalist from I
Yeah,
think it was from True FM.
with the president, right?
And they're only rabbits. It was only
Mm-hmm.
rabbits in the world. And he was talking
Mm.
to the President Weah.
Yeah.
And President Weah does not have the courage. Now, when a president does not have a courage,
Mm-hmm.
his foreign minister will molest someone and he will ding the image of the entire foreign policy of the country by not taking action. This is how it starts. And that is why
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cummings needed anti-graft to be effective. So you have a country now that the foreign image have been damaged. I mean, not to veer from the conversation, but
That's fine.
it's particular that the foreign image have been damaged. The president is taking no action because he's not an embodiment of the kind of representation of people like Mr. Cummings who want to support anti-graft and hold people accountable. His wife had been declared in the mother of democracy in the United States of America as persona non grata. She leaves and go to
Mm-hmm.
Morocco, and they are still supporting her on government funding. I mean,
Only.
it tells you the kind of kleptocratic government that we have that will not listen, a government that will bring
Mm.
you a Zorizo, that will steal petroleum product in black plastic there and make our people to place our people at insecurity level because the fuel prices are hiking and then those who are running generator outside LEC cannot afford, so they are shutting down, though they are charging exorbitantly, but they cannot even afford to run their generator because the exorbitant charges that we can afford, they cannot come up with it. So that's the level.
Mm.
But again, it's the kind of country that we have that the president will say everybody should have CCTV when there is no electricity. Even in the very United States of America that has electricity abundant, the president is not calling for everybody to have it. So do not have, we are not burned with being accountable. Like Mr. Cummings was saying, in Moro how to live doing a flat business, in parents, and they always help people accountable. What you don't have, it's not a dominating passion of your life. Definitely, I mean, you are not moved by the kind of statement. But those of us and the vast majority of Liberians who want this country to transition to a better level, understand Mr. Cummings' passion for supporting anti-graft, for bringing good governance to our country. And so that's
Thank you.
what I can.
Thank you, Dolakeh. All right, gentlemen, I think we're pressed against time here. I have a meeting there and then we got to reconvene. And so let's just go ahead and close up. I will start with Alan real quick. Alan, you're going to be a regular here because we really need your voice there. And, we'll have rehearsal during the week. And hopefully Wednesday we can come as a team to be able to further discuss along with our returning team members as well. Alan, you're on from Rwanda, and it's been an amazing joining for you. I'm so proud of what you're doing. And I know the unfortunate incident the last time in Rwanda, but your family were able to, the entire crew, stepped in and see how there's some kind of more support as well to you. One final, and what message do you have specifically for young people with 2023, coming up? What are those things that you see from your own experience now outside of Liberia that you think can be applied to Liberia and should be a awakening call awakening call for young people in Liberia, a wake up call.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. You see, this is what I want young people in Liberia to do and to think about. Put the nation first. If you put country first, those guys are not going to play with your intelligence. Majority of the guys come out, they don't need better for Liberia. And many these are come in Rwanda right now. I see that young people put their nation first. Everybody, everybody talk about Rwanda because why? They know that this is where they have as home. Nobody gonna nobody I mean, they love an individual or nation. They'll be patriotic. They'll put those guys when they come and take money for why it's supposed to be placed over and build big infrastructure and develop the nation. But those people don't help us. They only come and take what they have to take to the nation. So young people in Liberia needs to understand that let us put our country first. They'll see the visions of Mr. Kumis because Mr. Kumis has the nation as first. A president aspiring tell you that I don't need a salary. What comes to the mind? Why if we put this money where I'm supposed to take into a job creation, tourism, and other things, what comes to your mind? Everybody needs to get a job. We need to be independent. We don't have to be living in the pocket of people. Young people in
Mm.
Liberia every time think about it. Think about it. It makes sense to you. You vote Mr. Kumis because he's the only person who have the mindset right now. Those people are yet still fighting. They are still fighting,
And
so we
that
have to put Kumis first.
that's a great
Thank
point,
you.
Alan, and would like to get more of that perspective from you as well. And thank you so much for being today. And let me go to our other guest, Jonathan Dolakeh. Dolakeh, has been a really really great time with you, man, and thanks for lending your voice. And we're gonna do more of this, and I really do appreciate people like you. We need to see more of our people from the party on these platforms because you don't know the kind of impact that it has, right? Especially speaking to the audience. And now that we have the opportunity to talk to our people on radio in Liberia. This is free air time for you, right? For the party, and people who want to see Liberia grow to come here. We're not charging you. We're not telling you pay this. We want you to come and lend your collective voice to issues impacting our country so we can educate our people as well. Dolakeh, just your final word for us, please.
Yeah, thank you for the platform, and I feel quite humbled. I will always be open to this conversation. I would just like to close up on these 2 points quickly.
Yes.
Our country is doomed. A country that we have a debt envelope that cannot be disclosed. You cannot have the listing of those institutions that we owed, which should serve as a source document to the financial transaction of the minister. A country that the minister of finance will come up and take the road fund and mismanage it and say you got verbal approval from the CDC, autocratic leadership, and then with all proper explanation. A country that want a budget to be recast, and then you are not giving us any performance report that should be done quarterly every 3 months. Now, such a country that is legis, I mean, population test, because development go by population density, and then we cannot know what our population is. An entire bank statement is in red. Such a country is headed in soft pool. And the best thing to redeem such a country is to bring an individual with integrity. And that is why we are selfless in our advocacy for Mr. Cummings. That is why we want to take the leadership, a leadership that will be open to everybody, open to all tribes, open to all religion, open to all stronghold in order to like part and make it an economic hub that everybody can survive and put their hand in that boat and have the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolakeh, as well. And Pete, I would like your close up on this.
So I want to start by going back to John Magufuli of Tanzania. I think he was elected in 2015 and 2016. And those are countries like Rwanda, Tanzania. Those are countries that have been looked at as the new tiger states of Africa, right? So let's look at what Magufuli did in 2015 when he took over. He strengthened integrity institutions. Okay, same thing Mr. Cummings is trying to do. Okay, he made sure that government officials were not taking all these trips and charging it to the state. Okay, he stopped buying expensive cars. Think about what I just said. Okay, so there's a blueprint. We don't have money, so we're going to stop spending money like we are kings and queens and traveling the world like royalty on the backs of the poor people. You see a lot of people in CDC running around with the red beret and they quote things from the French that they haven't read about or studied. This is why revolution happened, because of a person like George Weah and Claire Weah. Okay, that's what the revolution that you guys are on that way do all the stuff you're doing. Y'all need to go study that revolution. Okay, Maria Antoinette and her husband. That's why the people burned down the city. Okay, because a few people enjoying, she was wasting money. They were having feasts while people were suffering. That's how revolutions happen. This revolution, we're not going to take it around with guns, and we don't got to do that. We already did it in Liberia. We're going to use our words, and we're going to be more actionable than that. Okay. Insurance policy is important. When you have people, when you have a leader who set things in place, everything is going to work by itself. The first thing you have to do is make sure that if it's A, everyone knows it's A, the answer is going to be A. Not it's A, and then for some people it's B, some people it's C. No, that's what Mr. Cummings is trying to do. That's what this man is trying to do who's going to lead us, okay? I'm going to use an American analogy because people, I'm not some government guy. I don't know about, I know a little bit because I'm an informed citizen. And what I do really know is American football. That's another way you guys know that I'm not trying to go work for your Liberian government, right?
Right.
In American football, I know Duke doesn't like this, but I like this team called New England Patriots because we win. There's a reason why we win. There's a reason. There's a clear reason why they win, right? They had a quarterback, the most important person on the team, that took a pay cut for a long time. And I'm gonna tell you why, Mr. Cummings. His name was Tom Brady. Tom Brady is considered the best to have ever played the game. He took a pay cut, 40%. Everyone else with his ability, whatever, was making millions more than he. He took a pay cut for many years. What did he do with that pay? What did the team or organization do with that pay cut that he took? That 35, 40% pay cut that he took? They went to other members of the teams. Like, do you want to win championships? Look at your leader. Look at the person who's the best in the whole league. He's taking a pay cut. So those other people take a little bit of a pay cut because it started by example. The money that they saved by those superstars taking a pay cut, they went and got less important roles, but at the highest of their position because they could pay them more now. So it's not just a few people who got paid now, right? The superstars got paid pretty good, but they took the pay cut that they took, they got offensive line with it. Because of that offensive line, these people won 6 championships, who is unprecedented, never unheard of ever. What am I trying to say? American football analogy. Because Mr. Cummings is going to take that money and put it into the integrity institution, right? So now the anti-graft. Now we can go after people who stole money and bring that money back. Now we can make sure that when businesses do come into Liberia, they're going to be everything that they do. They're going to have the ease of doing business because there are going to be people watching to make sure people don't take advantage of them. So now we're going to have more businesses coming in. We're going to create more jobs. Then you don't have to worry about the government giving people jobs. This is how it works. It starts with leadership. Okay, it starts with leadership. Leadership is humble. Leadership is humble. Are you trying to tell me when you listen to the people around Joseph Boycott, Morley, is that a humble man? It's self-deprecating. When you have to put S curl in your hair, you're not humble. You have a self-esteem issue. You're a man. Nobody cares. We can have ash on our hand. Nobody cares. We're a man. Just go make money and women will love you. Okay? You have to be humble. You have to be humble. Leadership is humble. Okay? Leadership is intelligent, is vision. That means you have to study what you're talking about. So when you hear the Henry Costa, the Bleaching King talk about leadership, does that sound like the guy outside of Liberian political gossip, picture bullet that he's fed? You hear him analyze other countries. Say, look how they have done it in Argentina, other democracies. They don't. He doesn't talk like that because he doesn't know, and he doesn't know because he doesn't care to study it. That's my only problem. I wanted to. I want us to say no, you're right and you're wrong, but study the topic first. They haven't done that. So leadership vision comes from being informed. You can't try to lead us all in this house if you're not this informed person. Go and sit your ass down. Go sit down. Okay. Leadership is passion. Leadership is passion. Does Joseph Boycott look like he has passion for helping people? Okay. Does Joseph Boycott look like he has had passion for our women? Because if you don't elevate the women in a society, the society don't grow. Listen, we're men. We're gonna walk around with holes in our pants and Johnny tail, but if there were no women around, trust me, we're no barefooted. Whatever standard the women set, is what the men are going to aspire to. Women, y'all need to learn that. Trust me on that. Okay, we don't care if it's just men in the room. Say, my man, go sit down, leave me alone, man. But when they're women, then we brush our teeth, we comb our hair. Women set the standards. Plus, women are the first educators of our children. So elevate the women. You ever heard Joseph Boycott talk about the part of our women are elevating them? Because he doesn't know. He don't know anything. That's why
This
Cummings
guy, man.
always talk about women. He talks about women because it's important. It's not some political gimmick. This is why you see the ANC women go talk to women, because they know if they elevate the women, the nation will be elevated. Lift up the women. It's not, you got Joy Hotel, our turn to eat. What kind of woman that? That's not, you should be talking about women issue. Women. That's lift the nation. You could tell the Christmas by Eve, people. Look at the policies people are setting. Look at their backgrounds. Look at what they have done. This is how we know Liberia is going to be better. Our revolution already happened. It's already happened. The revolution will be televised. It's right in your face. The country has changed. Lofa told you this has
Pete.
changed. Okay, it's changed. Liberia has changed. We're moving on. We're going to
Oh,
be better.
you know
Okay,
what?
I want to close on that.
Pete, we'll do this. We'll do this on Wednesday, guys. And I know, look, this was a really great conversation as well. And I wish we could stay on a little longer here, but today's my anniversary day, 11 years, so I have to
Hey, happy
take a
anniversary,
step.
brother.
So, but a great point, Pete. Great point, Dolakeh.
Happy
Great point
anniversary.
to you. Thank you. Great point to you, Alan. And you know what? These are the conversations that we need to have to educate our people, right, about our country. But I want to say thanks to our partner at Sky FM. You guys do a tremendous job helping us. We know sometimes there are challenges, but we just say thank you so much. Thanks to all of our listening audience. Siada, Yvette Sipers, Miada, studying her sis Miada, sir, in Florida as well. All of our agency people, our people from the general public, Albert, everybody else who's been here today, and we appreciate y'all. One final thing for me to bring this to a close, in terms of
Dolakeh, I know
that,
you have to run.
you know
Yeah.
and in our country, Liberia,
I'm doing good,
there
sir.
are a lot of things that we've experienced as a whole, as a people, as a nation, and we need to actually be better. We need to be able to elect the right leader for us to change that. But my final point: yesterday, last night, I was taken aback by a shocking death news of somebody that was close to me. Reverend Alfonso Davis. Reverend Davis was a tutor, he was a mentor, he was an educator, one of the faces of the United Methodist Church in Liberia. And he happened to live in Atlanta, Georgia. But Reverend D taught us something important about ourselves, about our esteem as a young man, as about academics. He was the one who nicknamed me the academic bishop on the quizzing team, because I was so effective in making sure that we were winning not only tournaments, but we were actually winning and putting the school's name out there, but fighting to make more young people productive in our society as well. Reverend D, I want to say, wherever you are, that it is my prayer and hope that whatever you've left behind will continue to manifest itself and grow people who can be responsible to change the trajectory of Liberia as well. I want to say thank you for impacting me, and thank you for impacting us. Thank you for bringing change to Liberia. Unfortunately, people like you did not get to live to see a decent Liberia. But what you've taught us, what you've left behind, will continue to burn inside us. On that note, I want to say thanks to all of you, including Bucky Raw, Dolakeh, all of our people there who've been able to join us today. Until next Wednesday, my name is Duke Estrada JJ, and I want to say thank you all for following us. And this is Unapologetic. We'll come on every 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. And thankfully, we'll be on the air next Wednesday as well. Y'all have a good day. Yeah, but people are kind of keeping on.
Let me thank everybody for your presence here today. Let me leave the Liberian people with this message. Sarah, I always like to leave you with one: we cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. If we want Liberia to change, we gotta do many things differently in our personal lives and in our national life. Second thing, message is Liberia is too rich for us to be too poor. We gotta manage our resources differently. We gotta manage it better so that we can reduce the suffering on the Liberian people. These are some of the things that, if given the chance to serve you as your leader, we will do to improve the lives of Liberians. So again, I want to thank you for your presence. God bless you and God bless Liberia.
I said, wave your flag. ANC partisan, wave your flag. LSNB, Kumi, wave your flag. Prince on APC, wave your flag. Jeremiah Slaughter, wave your flag. Papa, we will win, no. I say we will win, no. You can do it for us, for us, for us. You will go there for us, for us, for us. You can do it for us, for us, for us. You will go there for us, for us, for us. You can do it, yeah. You will do it, oh. You can do it, yeah. You can go there for us. That's the reason we are. The masses crying, but then are you we want? Development of Kumis, I said, are you we want? No, are you we want? So mama, papa, brother, sister, and uncle, you're gonna do it. Mama, papa, brother, sister, and uncle, you're gonna do it.
Straight up.
This is what science L-I-B-U.
They will like it.
The system party, my people, the system shaking. We want to the teaching, but they not one listening. The system party, my people, the system shaking. We want to the teaching, but they not one listening.
Work on economics, work on so two things. One is the economics for sure. Yeah. And to do that, though, your profession, the rule of law, corruption, right, in the courts, in the government.